You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. Good evening. It's right after Rosh Chodesh Shvat. We're holding it January 19th, 2026. This country will be preparing for a major Arctic outbreak along with this very significant winter storm. In fact, the Washington Post tells us that there will be palm trees. There's forecasted to be palm trees in northern Florida that could have an inch of snow on them by the time this week is over, especially sometime over the weekend. This is a storm system which has enormous amounts of Gulf moisture. Although the National Weather Service only speaks about the Gulf moisture, when you look at windy.com, you'll see that the air mass is already moisturized even before it hits the southern Gulf. Coming off of the Atlantic waters, parts of the Caribbean it even appears, and then this moisture moves north very solid along a coastal front, a Gulf Coast front. This has probably the most amount of moisture that you can get because the Gulf is wide open. Low pressure system develops over the desert southwest, tells us the Weather Prediction Center. You could also see this in the European computer model as advertised on windy.com. We're currently we're focusing on the weekend storm because that is of most significance for the southern portions of the country. But we're going to be speaking about a brutal Arctic outbreak that's going to be taking place in the northern parts of the country. In fact, that's also moving to the southern parts of the country as well. So we have that storm system that develops off in the desert southwest. The main precipitation day, the main winter weather day is going to be Shabbos Kodesh this upcoming Saturday. Places like Memphis, Tennessee, mixed precipitation for many locations of freezing rain, sleet, and snow. It becomes very difficult to forecast what the exact amounts are going to be, but several inches of snow, likely 2 to 5 inches, something like that, along with some ice for many of these cities that don't normally get snow and ice. And as we mentioned, even some cities which have palm trees. We have right now 1 to 4 inches forecasted for portions of Boston, probably Providence as well. But when you go on to that island, Nantucket, you're talking about snowfall amounts a little bit more than that. These places on the East Coast, like New York City, 1 to 4 inches, Baltimore might even get a little bit more. When you head into North Carolina, we have higher snow totals forecasted there, some ice accumulation as well. We have some places over the Appalachian Mountains that might see all snow. And if they do, we could see some more significant snowfall for those areas. We might take another look at those cities and the snowfall forecasts based upon the Washington Post later in this episode. But for right now, let's come back to the Chicago area. We're just going to focus on the Chicago area just for the next couple of minutes. Forecast major stuff going on over the next few days. No southern stream storms are forecasted to hit Chicago right now, but we do have several Clipper systems headed for Chicago. The most significant one is certainly the one tomorrow night. That's a 29.8 low pressure system. The Lake Michigan, or the Milwaukee National Weather Service, is describing it as a 29.6 low pressure system that moves across Lake Michigan. It's hard to find where it is 29.6, but if you move away from the European computer model, you do start to see numbers that are closer to 29.7. So it starts off really as 2 low pressure systems of 29.8 around the Great Lakes area. It seems like it does consolidate into something a little bit stronger. Either way, we're talking about a few inches of snow due to the high to snow water ratio of 15 to 1. Earlier today, they were saying 20 to 1, and we have, it's a moisture starved system, but it is coming out of Saskatchewan, Canada. Usually those things are a little bit stronger than what comes out of Alberta, but nonetheless, it doesn't have access to Gulf moisture, so nonetheless, 1 to 4 inches, higher amounts near the Wisconsin-Illinois border. quarter. But that's not the only snow system here in Chicago. Behind that Clipper system, we get a bitterly cold air mass of Arctic air. Then a secondary front, which picks up any remaining moisture from the first system. Not much, but we're looking at a 2 to 4 hour period of snow squalls possible across the Chicago area. Tells us the National Weather Service. That happens Wednesday evening. Thursday evening, we get another Arctic front, and this one's a big one, a reinforcing shot of very cold Arctic air. Again, there's instability along the front. The moisture, I don't know where it is, but it's there. Enough moisture to produce some snow showers, even some heavier snow showers at times. Nothing significant for the snowfall accumulation forecasted at this point, but the real bitterly cold Arctic air and high pressure, which is so intense, 31.0, even 31.05 is something which will be headed into the middle parts of our country over the weekend. This is why the low pressure system of only 29.8 and 29.9 is going to be much stronger than what a 29.8 or 29.9 would normally be down on the south coast, because the gradient is just so intense between the powerful Arctic high and this low pressure system. So we're going to have the strong winds. Ice storm is expected for the southeastern portions of our country, along with a significant snowstorm for areas to the north. This is a southern storm, a southern stream storm. Little Rock, Arkansas, portions of northern Arkansas, Oklahoma, southern portions of Missouri, portions of Kentucky as well, especially southern Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina could be one of the hardest hit states right now, and portions of Georgia as well. Maryland could get hit with several inches of snow. That includes Baltimore, Maryland, but even more so Washington, D.C. Storm tracks are not set in stone at this point. You know, we're still a few days out, and we're looking at the global models of the European computer models. Some other things that we should point out over here. First of all, we have a negative Arctic oscillation index that increases the likelihood for continuous Arctic air masses to push into our area at this time. It's not going to be locked up north. The Arctic air comes down south. We have a blocking high pressure system, a ridge over Alaska. That's causing a great bulge in the jet stream over there, and that causes a dip in the jet stream down here. That's what's happening. You have ridge over there, likely well above normal, probably over there in Alaska. That's sending all the Arctic air down here. But what's also complicating the situation is the Greenland blocking high, and that's causing things to stall. So the storm stalls. They're low, difficult to map if you use the European computer model or even other models, but the boundary of to warm air, that's not difficult to find at all, and that's where the low pressure system is going to ride along that boundary. So we do seem to have a storm track, whether you could find the low pressure system or not. We see it develop in the beginning. We certainly see it in its final stage, even before the final stage. By the time it hits Georgia, even portions of northern Florida, then moves off the coast, it really starts to develop. At that point, the spiral, the wind, actually lines up very well with the area of lowest pressure. So it becomes a much more organized system at that point. But major winter impacts could be expected even before that point. But there's a lot of variables that need to be at this time. Bitterly cold Arctic air. We have something, a lot of times the air gets wedged in when you're dealing with cities in the North Carolinas, in between the Appalachian Mountains and the coast over there. You can get just cold air that gets wedged in. There's even an abbreviation for it, CAD. And then that's where you get the freezing rain a lot of times, which could lead to significant ice accumulations. So those types of things are very complex. We covered the Arctic Oscillation Index and how it is negative. We spoke about the implied high amplitude. Let's mention it explicitly. We have a high amplitude weather pattern right now due to those two blocking highs, one in Greenland, one in Alaska. That's producing a wavy jet stream. That's a wavy jet stream. This is the most ideal setup for storm development. The storm track happens to be the major storm storm track is well to the south of Chicago, so we're getting those clipper systems, which are, in one hand, more reliable. There's not that much that can go wrong. We don't have those warm noses, a warm nose like the Memphis National Weather Service. Memphis, Tennessee speaks about some warm nose 5,000 feet above the surface at 850 MB. That's from the Gulf of Mexico, but here in Chicago, it's just, these 1 to 4 inch snows and then snow squalls along the front that could develop quite rapidly. The bitterly cold Arctic air is something which is definitely worth speaking about, because models are setting up the Chicago area right now to see double-digit below zero in some locations Friday night into early Shabbos morning, with afternoon highs possibly even staying below zero in many locations on Friday. This is very brutal stuff. Brutal Arctic air. Grounds will be snow covered at the time. That's going to help with reinforce this cold Arctic air. That's also going to help bring this cold air down south. I'm trying to think if we have anything else of significance, because there's been so much discussed and it just doesn't feel like we covered it all. It really doesn't feel like we covered it all. But well, for right now, we're just gonna. One thing that has to be looked into actually is our GFS storm maker for next weekend. And a lot of times, weather works in 7-day cycles. So you have a storm system this weekend, you get another one next weekend. Sometimes it takes a slightly different track. That's something which is kedai to look into. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your interest, everyone. I hope you stay safe. And the Wednesday morning commute here in Chicago will be impacted most significantly. But if you're prepared in advance, that is a big, big plus. So listening to this, you now know. And thank you for listening, and stay safe.